What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, there is a coin worth more than $20,000 hiding somewhere in America, and there is a very real chance it's sitting in your pocket change, your old coin jar, or the dusty collection your grandfather left you? Don't click away. I know what you're thinking. Another coin video making wild promises. But I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes because by the time I'm finished, you will understand exactly why this one specific penny from 1941 has turned ordinary people into overnight winners, why collectors are willing to fight over it, and most importantly, how you can identify it before you accidentally spend a fortune on a cup of coffee. Let me tell you a story that still gives me chills every single time I share it. The year was 1941. America was on the brink of entering World War II. The nation was nervous, factories were shifting to wartime production, and the United States Mint was operating under enormous pressure. In Philadelphia, the main mint facility was producing millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, each one stamped with the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the back. Now here is where it gets interesting. That year, the Philadelphia Mint did something unusual, or rather, they didn't do something they normally did. They produced the 1941 wheat penny without a mint mark. Now for Philadelphia, this was actually standard. Philadelphia pennies traditionally carried no mint mark. Denver had the D, San Francisco had the S, Philadelphia had nothing. Simple enough, right? But here is what makes the 1941 no mint mark penny so incredibly special and why you need to pay very close attention to what I am about to say. Within that massive production run in Philadelphia, something went wrong. Something that would not be discovered for decades. A small number of pennies were struck with a critical error. We're talking about double die errors, where the date and lettering appeared doubled because the die struck the coin twice, slightly off each time. We're talking about off-center strikes so dramatic that part of the design is completely missing. And we are talking about the holy grail of wheat penny errors, something called the repunched mint mark, which on a Philadelphia coin makes absolutely no sense because there should be no mint mark to repunch in the first place. This is the mystery that has driven collectors absolutely crazy for over 80 years. Think about the journey these pennies have taken. 83 years of changing hands. 83 years of being dropped in parking lots, tossed in wishing wells, tucked into birthday cards, hidden in sock drawers, and passed from parent to child without anyone ever realizing what they were holding. Some of these pennies traveled across the country in soldiers' pockets during the war. Some sat forgotten in old cash registers that ended up in antique shops. Some were melted down. And some, the ones we are looking for, survived. Now let me tell you about a man named Robert, a retired schoolteacher from Ohio. In 2019, Robert was going through his late father's belongings when he found an old tin box filled with wheat pennies. His father had collected them casually throughout his life, never thinking they were worth more than face value. Robert almost threw the entire box in the trash. He told himself, "What am I going to do with a bunch of old pennies?" But something made him pause. He decided to look through them one by one, and there, buried in the middle of that pile, was a 1941 penny with no mint mark and a double die error so pronounced you could see it without a magnifying glass. Robert took that penny to a professional coin grader. When the results came back, the coin was authenticated as a genuine 1941 no mint mark double die obverse error in uncirculated condition. Do you know what happened next? That penny, which Robert almost threw in the garbage, sold at auction for $18,600. $18,600. From a single penny. From a coin his father probably received as change buying groceries or a newspaper. And Robert's story is not the only one. A waitress in Texas received a 1941 wheat penny as part of her tip in 2021. She almost gave it away because it looked old and dirty. Something told her to check it online. That penny had a major off-center strike error. A college student in Michigan found one in a roll of pennies from his local bank. He was a coin roll hunter, someone who searches through bank rolls looking for valuable coins. When he spotted that 1941 with no mint mark and noticed the doubling on Lincoln's I and the word Liberty, he nearly dropped the roll. That coin graded at MS65 red, which means it had maintained its original copper luster like the day it was minted. He paid 1 cent for that roll. 1 cent. The coin was valued at over $7,000. These are not fairy tales. These are documented sales. These are real people whose lives changed in an instant because they paid attention. Because they didn't dismiss that old penny as worthless. Because they were curious enough to look. Now I want you to imagine something. Right now, as you listen to my voice, there are millions of wheat pennies still in circulation, still sitting in jars, still tucked away in forgotten places. The United States Mint produced over 887 million pennies in Philadelphia in 1941 alone. Within that staggering number, the error coins, the true treasures, were a microscopic fraction. But here is the thing that should make your heart beat a little faster. Most people have never checked their wheat pennies properly. Most people see an old penny and think, "Oh, that's nice," and put it back. Most people have no idea what to look for. But you are not most people anymore. Because in the next 2 minutes, I am going to tell you exactly how to identify a valuable 1941 no-mint mark penny, and after hearing this, you will never look at pocket change the same way again. First, you need to find the coin. Check your old coin jars, your childhood piggy banks, the drawers your grandparents left behind, estate sales, flea markets, and yes, even your everyday pocket change. The 1941 wheat penny has Lincoln on the front with the date clearly showing 1941 on the right side. On the back, you will see 2 stalks of wheat surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. And critically, look below the date on the front. Is there a mint mark? If there is no D, no S, nothing at all, you have a Philadelphia strike. That is step 1. Step 2 is where fortunes are made or lost. You need to examine the coin under good light with a magnifying glass or a loupe. Look at the date. Look at the word liberty. Look at the motto "In God we trust." Are any of these doubled? Do you see a second, faint impression slightly offset from the main one? This doubling will look like a shadow or a ghost image sitting just beside the primary strike. If you see this, your heart should start racing because you may have found a double die error. Step 3. Check the overall condition. Is the coin red, meaning it still has its original copper shine? Is it red-brown, meaning some of the original color has faded? Or is it brown, meaning it has fully toned over time? Red coins are worth the most, sometimes 10 times more than brown examples of the same error. Step 4, and this is critical, if you believe you have found something special, do not clean the coin. I repeat, do not clean the coin under any circumstances. Cleaning a coin destroys its value. Collectors want original surfaces, original patina, original everything. The moment you polish it or wipe it with a cloth, you could be wiping away thousands of dollars. Take it instead to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, grading costs money, but if your coin is genuine and rare, that investment will pay for itself many times over. Now here is something else I want you to know. The market for these coins is not static. It is not staying still. Every year, as more collectors enter the hobby and more of these error pennies are discovered and removed from circulation, the remaining examples become rarer and more valuable. A coin that sold for $500 10 years ago might sell for $5,000 today. The 1941 no-mint mark error penny is not just a piece of history. It is an appreciating asset. It is a treasure hiding in plain sight. I want to circle back to something I said at the beginning. There is a real chance, a real probability, that a life-changing coin is sitting somewhere near you right now. Maybe it's in that old coffee can on top of the refrigerator. Maybe it's in the coin jar in your closet. Maybe it's in the collection your uncle gave you that you never looked at twice. Maybe it's in your pocket right now. The only difference between the people who find these coins and the people who don't is knowledge and action. The people who found them knew what to look for. And they took the time to look. You now know what to look for. The question is, will you take the time? Think about what $18,000 could do for you. Think about what even $4,000 could do. Pay off debt. Take a vacation. Fix the car. Help someone you love. Start something new. And all of that possibility, could be sitting in a single penny that has been waiting 83 years for someone to finally notice it. I want you to do something for me after this video ends. Go find your old coins. Go look through that jar. Go check that drawer. And if you find a 1941 wheat penny with no mint mark, look at it carefully. Look at it like your future might depend on it. Because it just might. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. If this video opened your eyes to something you never considered before, share it with someone who needs to see it. Someone who might be sitting on a fortune without knowing it. Subscribe if you want to learn more about the hidden treasures all around us. And leave a comment telling me what you found when you checked your coins. I read every single one, and you never know whose story might be the next one I tell. Before I say anything else, I want you to pause this video for just 10 seconds. 10 seconds is all I ask. Look around the room you're sitting in right now. Is there an old drawer you haven't opened in years? A box in the closet from your parents' house? A coin jar on your dresser that's been collecting dust for a decade? Go look. I'll wait. The reason I'm asking you to do this is simple. In 1942, the United States of America was at war. The world was on fire. And in the middle of all that chaos, the Philadelphia Mint struck nearly 650 million pennies, each one a tiny piece of copper that would go on to touch thousands of lives. But a handful of those pennies, a microscopic number, were born different. They were born with secrets. They were born with mistakes that would make them worth more than most people earn in months. And right now, today, there is a real chance one of them is within 50 feet of where you are sitting. My name is not important. What is important is that I'm going to tell you the truth about the 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark. Not the recycled information you've heard on 20 other channels. I'm going to tell you the real story, the one that collectors whisper about at auctions, the one that has made grown men cry when they realized what they had been carrying in their pockets for 40 years. Let me take you back. The year is 1942. America has entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Every resource is being redirected to the war effort. Copper, the very metal that pennies are made from, is suddenly precious. It's needed for bullet casings, for wiring in bombers, for the machinery of war. The mint is under orders. Conserve copper. Find alternatives. Change the composition. But in the early months of 1942, before the switch to steel pennies in 1943, the Philadelphia Mint was still producing the classic bronze wheat penny. Copper, tin, and zinc. The familiar recipe. The coin Americans had trusted for decades. Now, Philadelphia coins don't carry a mint mark. That's normal. Denver stamps a D, San Francisco stamps an S, Philadelphia stamps nothing. So a 1942 penny without a mint mark, at first glance, is just a regular Philadelphia issue. Common. Ordinary. Worth a few cents in average condition. But here is where the story takes a turn that could change your life. Within the massive production run at Philadelphia in 1942, something happened on a small number of dies. A die is the hardened steel stamp that slams into the blank coin planchet, imprinting the design with tons of pressure. These dies are supposed to be perfect, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes the mint worker, working long hours under wartime pressure, made a mistake during the die creation process. And that mistake, invisible to the naked eye at the time, would create some of the most sought-after error coins in American history. I'm talking about the 1942 double die obverse. On this coin, look at the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." Under magnification, you will see it. The letters and numbers appear twice, one strike slightly offset from the other, like a ghost hovering just above the surface. This is not machine doubling, which is common and worthless. This is true hub doubling, created when the die itself was impressed twice by the master hub, slightly rotated between impressions. The difference between a common coin and a mortgage payment is knowing how to tell one from the other. Then there's an even rarer error, one that still baffles experts. The 1942 over 1941 over date. Imagine the year 1941 punched into the die, and then 1942 punched over it, leaving traces of the old digit visible underneath the new one. These coins are so rare that when one appears at auction, the bidding war is ferocious. I've seen men in expensive suits nearly come to blows over a 1942 overdate penny in high grade. And then there is the holy grail that almost nobody talks about. The 1942 no mint mark penny struck on a wrong planchet. Remember how I said the mint was preparing to switch to zinc-coated steel for 1943? Occasionally, a steel planchet intended for the next year's production would find its way into the press in 1942. A 1942 penny struck on steel instead of bronze. It shouldn't exist. It defies explanation. And if you ever find one, you will never have to worry about money again. But let me bring this back to you. To your life. To what's in your hands or your drawers right now. I want to share a story that I think about every single time I talk about this coin. There was a woman named Margaret. She lived in a small town in Indiana. Her husband, George, had passed away in 2015. They had been married for 58 years. George had a little wooden box where he kept old coins, nothing organized, just coins he thought looked interesting over the decades. Pennies, nickels, the occasional silver dime. Margaret kept that box on her nightstand after George passed. It smelled like him. She never thought about the coins as money. They were memories. One day, Margaret's grandson was visiting from college. He was going through a phase where he was interested in coin collecting after watching some videos online. He asked his grandmother if he could look through Grandpa's old coin box. She said of course. He started sorting through them, checking dates, checking for mint marks, and then he stopped. In his hand was a 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark. But something was wrong. The date looked doubled. The word Liberty looked like it had a shadow. His hand started shaking. He asked his grandmother if he could take it to a coin shop in the city. Margaret said yes, thinking it was probably worth a few dollars. Maybe 50 if they were lucky. The coin came back from grading as a 1942 no mint mark double die obverse, graded MS63 red. Uncirculated. Original copper luster still blazing like the day it was struck. Do you know what that coin sold for at the Heritage auction 6 months later? $22,325. Margaret didn't believe it. She made her grandson call the auction house 3 times to confirm. That money didn't bring George back, but it paid off the remaining mortgage on the house they had shared for over half a century. It meant Margaret didn't have to worry about property taxes anymore. It meant she could stay in the home where she and George had built their life together. All from a penny. A penny that George had probably picked up off the ground somewhere in 1942 or 1943 and thought, this one looks nice, and dropped it into a box. That penny waited over 70 years in the dark of a wooden box to finally be seen. To finally change a life. And Margaret's story is not unique. A truck driver in Oklahoma found a 1942 double die penny in a roll from a gas station. He sold it for over $5,000 and used the money to pay for his daughter's first semester of college. A retired nurse in Florida found one in her late brother's estate. It graded MS65 red, nearly perfect, and hammered at auction for over $12,000. A young couple in Oregon found one in the change from a farmer's market purchase. They didn't even know what they had until the husband held it up to the light and noticed the doubling. That coin paid for their wedding. These are not lottery winners. These are ordinary people who did one thing differently. They looked. They paid attention. They didn't assume that old penny was worthless. Now I want you to understand something crucial. The vast majority of 1942 Philadelphia wheat pennies are common. Very common. In worn condition, they might be worth $1 or $2. Even in nice condition, a regular one might bring $10 or $20. I am not here to tell you that every 1942 penny will make you rich. That would be a lie, and I don't lie to the people who trust me with their time. But within that ocean of ordinary coins, there are islands of extraordinary value. And the only way to find them is to look. Is to examine. Is to care enough about your own financial future to spend 5 minutes checking what you already have. Here is exactly what you need to do. Listen closely because these steps could be worth thousands to you. Step 1. Find any 1942 wheat penny you can. Look in old coin jars, inherited collections, estate sales, flea markets, coin rolls from your local bank. The coin has Abraham Lincoln facing right on the front. The date, 1942, is on the right side of Lincoln's portrait. The word liberty is to the left. In God We Trust runs along the top. On the back, you see the famous wheat ears design, two stalks curving along the sides with 1 cent in the center and United States of America across the top. Step 2. Check for a mint mark. On a 1942 penny, the mint mark, if present, will be a tiny letter D or S located below the date. If there is no letter, you have a Philadelphia coin. That's what we're looking for. Step 3. This is the moment of truth. Get a magnifying glass. You need at least 5x magnification, but 10x is better. You can buy a jeweler's loupe online for $10. That $10 investment could uncover a $20,000 coin. Look at the date, 1942. Is it crisp and single, or do you see a faint second image slightly offset from the main one? Look at the word liberty. Same question. Look at In God We Trust. If you see doubling that looks like a shadow image rather than a flat, smeared effect, you may have a doubled die. Flat, smeared doubling is usually machine doubling and adds little value. True hub doubling has rounded, distinct secondary images. Step 4. Check the color. Coins are graded on a color scale. Red means the coin has retained at least 95% of its original mint luster, that blazing copper-orange shine. Red-brown means some toning has occurred but original color remains. Brown means the coin has fully toned to a chocolate or dark brown color. Red coins command the highest premiums, often many multiples of brown coins in the same technical grade. Step 5. If you find a 1942 penny that you believe has doubling, do not clean it. Do not rub it with a cloth. Do not dip it in any solution. Do not even handle it by the faces. Hold it by the edges. Cleaning a coin strips away the original surface and can destroy 90% or more of its value. Collectors want originality. They want the history. They want the coin exactly as it left the mint. Step 6. Take the coin to a trusted local coin dealer for an initial opinion. If they believe it's genuine, submit it to a professional grading service. PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, are the two most respected. Grading costs money but authenticates your coin, assigns it a grade on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, and encapsulates it in a tamper-proof holder that the market trusts. A graded coin will always sell for more than a raw, ungraded coin. Now, I need to tell you something that might be hard to hear, but you need to hear it anyway. The coin market is not theoretical. It's real. Every single week, somewhere in America, someone walks into a coin shop with a coin they found in change or inherited, and they walk out with a check. Every single week, somewhere online, an auction ends and money transfers from a collector's bank account to an ordinary person's bank account because that ordinary person had the eyes to see what they were holding. But for every person who finds treasure, there are thousands who never look. Thousands who throw old coins into the coin counting machine at the grocery store for face value. Thousands who leave grandpa's coin box in the attic because they think it's just junk. Thousands who spend a rare error penny on a candy bar without ever knowing. Don't be one of those people. Not after today. I believe with every fiber of my being that there are still undiscovered treasures out there. I believe there are 1942 no-mint marked double-die pennies sitting in coffee cans in basements right now. I believe there are steel planchet errors resting in old Whitman folders that haven't been opened since 1970. I believe there are red uncirculated examples hiding in proof sets or mint sets that were forgotten in safe deposit boxes. And I believe that someone watching this video right now, someone who has stayed with me all the way to this moment, is the person who is going to find one. Maybe that person is you. Think about what that kind of money would mean for you. Think about the weight it would lift. The bills that could be paid. The security it could provide. The breathing room it would create. All of that possibility, all of that hope, wrapped up in a disc of copper smaller than your fingertip. The 1942 Philadelphia wheat penny is more than a coin. It's a time capsule from the year America went to war. It's a piece of a generation's sacrifice. And for a tiny fraction of those pennies, it's a winning lottery ticket that has been waiting over 80 years for someone to finally cash it in. I want to thank you for staying with me. I know there are a million things competing for your attention. A million other videos you could have clicked on. But you chose to spend this time with me, and I don't take that lightly. I made this video because I believe knowledge is the most valuable currency there is. And now you have knowledge that 99% of people don't. So here is my final challenge to you. Within the next 24 hours, go find your old coins. Go through them one by one. Check every 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark under a magnifying glass. If you find nothing, you've lost 5 minutes. But if you find something, if you find that doubled die, that overdate, that wrong planchet, your life changes. And if you do find something, come back to this video and leave a comment. Tell me your story. I want to celebrate with you. I read every single comment, and I make videos about the best finds. Your discovery could inspire someone else to check their coins, and that ripple effect could change lives. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe your parents, your grandparents, your neighbor who collects coins, your friend who's struggling financially. You might be the reason they discover they've been sitting on a fortune. Subscribe to this channel if you believe that treasure is still out there waiting to be found. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next video that could change your life. And remember, the difference between an ordinary penny and a $20,000 payday is not luck. It's attention. It's curiosity. It's the willingness to look. Now go look. The year is 1944. The world is at war. Allied forces are storming the beaches of Normandy. American bombers are flying missions over Europe. And back home, something extraordinary is happening inside the United States Mint that would create one of the most legendary error coins in American history. A coin that, if you find it today, could be worth more than $100,000. Stop whatever you're doing right now. I need your complete attention for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just another coin story. This is a story about war, about sacrifice, about a government decision that accidentally created a fortune, and about how that fortune could be sitting in your home right now without you even knowing it. Let me take you back to 1943. The war is consuming massive amounts of copper. Every bullet, every shell casing, every communication wire requires copper. The United States government makes a drastic decision. For 1 year only, pennies will be made from zinc-coated steel instead of copper. These are the famous steel pennies, the silver-colored oddities that everyone remembers finding in their grandparents' collections. But there was a problem. The steel pennies rusted. They were confused with dimes. The public hated them. So in 1944, the government reversed course. The mint was ordered to return to copper-based pennies. But here's where the story takes a turn that still makes coin collectors lose sleep at night. The mint needed copper, and they needed it fast. So they did something remarkable. They began using recycled shell casings from military training grounds and battlefields. The very ammunition that helped win the war was being melted down and turned into pennies. Every 1944 wheat penny in your collection might literally contain the medal of victory, the brass from spent cartridges fired by American soldiers. Think about that. Hold that image in your mind. The shell casings gathered from training camps across America, shipped to the Philadelphia Mint, melted in massive furnaces, rolled into thin strips, and punched into planchets that would become the 1944 wheat penny. Each coin a tiny monument to the war effort. Each coin carrying the DNA of history itself. Now, the Philadelphia Mint in 1944 produced an absolutely staggering number of these pennies. We're talking about more than 1,435,000,000 coins. That number is so large it's hard to comprehend. But here's the twist, and this is why you need to pay very close attention. Within that ocean of over 1.4 billion pennies, there were a small number of coins that should never have existed. Coins that were created by accident, by mistake, by the chaos of wartime production. And these mistakes, these beautiful, rare, precious mistakes, are now worth sums of money that could change your entire life. The first error, and the most famous, is the 1944 steel penny. Wait, didn't I just say steel pennies were only made in 1943? I did. And that's exactly why this error is so valuable. Somehow, a small number of steel planchets, the zinc-coated steel blanks left over from 1943 production, found their way into the presses in 1944. These planchets should have been removed. They should have been melted. But they weren't. They were struck with the 1944 date. A 1944 penny on a steel planchet. Silver-colored instead of copper. Magnetic. Completely wrong. Completely priceless. In 2021, a 1944 steel penny in decent condition sold at auction for over $180,000. Let that number sink in. $180,000. For a single penny. For a coin that someone, somewhere, probably received as change and thought, "That's strange, why is this penny silver?" But the 1944 steel penny is just the beginning. There's another error, equally dramatic, and in some ways even more fascinating. Remember those recycled shell casings I told you about? The mint had to adjust the composition of the planchets because the shell casings weren't pure copper. They were brass, an alloy of copper and zinc. This meant the 1944 pennies had a slightly different color, a slightly different tone than pre-war pennies. But during the transition back to copper, something went wrong. On a tiny number of coins, the dies struck planchets that had improper alloy mixes, or planchets that were cut from contaminated metal strips. These errors created coins with streaky discoloration, with unusual toning, and in extremely rare cases, with portions of the design missing because the metal didn't flow properly into the dies. Then there's the double die obverse for the 1944 Philadelphia penny. Under intense magnification, the date, the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust" show clear doubling. The die itself was impressed twice by the hub, slightly rotated, creating a permanent doubled image on every coin that die struck. How many coins received this doubling? Nobody knows for certain, but the estimates are in the low thousands at most, and far fewer survive in high grade today. And finally, there is the error that hardly anyone talks about, which means the few people who know about it have a massive advantage. The 1944 over 1943 over date. This occurs when a die from 1943 was repunched with the 1944 date, leaving traces of the original digit visible beneath. Finding one of these is like finding a ghost, a shadow of the previous year hiding beneath the surface. Now I've told you what to look for. But I want you to understand why this matters to your life right now, today. Let me tell you about a man named Frank. Frank was a janitor in a high school in Pennsylvania. He worked the night shift for 32 years, cleaning classrooms, emptying trash cans, mopping floors. He didn't have a 401k. He didn't have a pension. What he had was a habit of checking his pocket change every single night before he went to sleep. His wife used to tease him about it. "Frank, you're never going to find anything in those pennies." One night in 2018, Frank found a 1944 penny in his change from the vending machine at work. It looked odd. The color was wrong. It was silver, not copper. Frank's hands started shaking. He remembered reading somewhere about wartime pennies, about steel and copper, about mistakes that were worth fortunes. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he took that penny to a coin dealer in downtown Philadelphia. The dealer authenticated it as a genuine 1944 steel penny. Frank sold that coin at a heritage auction 3 months later for $114,000. Frank, a janitor who had never earned more than $35,000 in a year, suddenly had more money than he had ever seen in his life. He paid off his daughter's student loans. He bought his first new car at the age of 63. And he told his wife, with tears in his eyes, "I told you I'd find something. But here's what keeps me up at night." Frank almost didn't check. He was tired that night. His back hurt. He almost tossed that change into a jar and went straight to bed. One moment of hesitation, one decision to not look, and $114,000 would have ended up in a Coinstar machine for face value. How many moments like that have you had? How many coins have passed through your hands without a second glance? And Frank's story isn't even the most dramatic one. A family in Ohio found a 1944 steel penny in a box of old coins at an estate sale they purchased for $20. That coin was one of only a handful known to exist in uncirculated condition. It sold for over $375,000. From a $20 box. From a coin that someone had probably stored away decades ago, never knowing what it was, never knowing it was the down payment on a house. A waitress in Arizona received a 1944 double-die penny as part of her tip in 2020. During the pandemic, when restaurants were struggling and tips were scarce, that penny became a lifeline. She sold it for over $7,000, money that kept her family afloat during the hardest year of their lives. A retired veteran in Texas was going through his late brother's coin collection, preparing to sell it for whatever he could get. He found a 1944 penny with unusual color, streaks of orange and brown, a planchet error caused by the recycled shell casing metal. He had it graded. It came back as a mint error, authenticated and certified. That penny paid for his granddaughter's wedding. These are not fictional characters. These are real people. Their names are in auction records. Their stories are documented. And they all have one thing in common. They looked. They paid attention. They didn't assume that old penny was worthless. Now I want to speak directly to you. Yes, you. The person listening to my voice right now. I don't know your situation. I don't know what you're going through. But I know that life is hard. I know that money doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot of things. It solves the stack of bills on the kitchen counter. It solves the car repair you've been putting off. It solves the medical expenses that keep you awake at night. It buys time. It buys options. It buys breathing room. And all of that relief and security and peace of mind, could be sitting in a coin that's been in your family for 80 years without anyone ever really looking at it. Here is exactly what you need to do. I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide, and I need you to follow it like a treasure map. Because that's exactly what it is. Step 1. Find your 1944 wheat pennies. Look in old coin jars, inherited collections, albums, folders, the change in your car's cup holder, the coins in your dresser drawer. The front of the coin shows Abraham Lincoln facing right. The date, 1944, is on the right side. There should be no mint mark below the date. If you see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, that's a different coin, still potentially valuable, but not the Philadelphia coin we're hunting today. Step 2. This is critical. Check the color and the metal. A 1944 Philadelphia penny should be copper-colored. It should look like a normal penny, with that familiar reddish-brown tone depending on wear and age. But if you pick up a 1944 penny and it's silver-colored, if it looks like a dime rather than a penny, if it has a gray or steel appearance, your heart should start racing. Test it with a magnet. Normal 1944 copper pennies are not magnetic. A 1944 steel penny is magnetic. If your 1944 penny sticks to a magnet, stop whatever you're doing and handle that coin like it's made of gold. Because in terms of value relative to weight, it's worth far more than gold. Step 3. Use magnification. Get a jeweler's loupe, a magnifying glass, even your phone's zoom camera if that's all you have. Look at the date. Look at the 1944. Are the numbers crisp and single, or do you see a faint shadow image slightly offset? Look at the word Liberty on the left side of Lincoln's head. Is it doubled? Look at I and God We Trust across the top. Any ghost images, any shadows, any signs of a second strike? True double dies show rounded, distinct secondary images, not flat, smeared doubling which is common and worthless. Step 4. Examine the surface quality. Look for unusual streaking, odd coloration, spots where the design seems weak or missing. Remember, the 1944 pennies were made from recycled shell casings, and the alloy wasn't always perfect. Planchet errors caused by improper metal mixing can add significant value. A coin that looks unusual, that doesn't match the typical appearance of a 1944 penny, demands further investigation. Step 5. Check for any trace of an overdate. This is difficult and requires strong magnification, but look carefully at the last digit of the date. Do you see any hint of a 3 beneath the 4? Any ghost of the previous year's die? If you suspect an overdate, you may be holding one of the rarest Lincoln cent errors in existence. Step 6. I cannot stress this enough. Do not clean the coin. Do not polish it. Do not rub it with a cloth. Do not use any coin cleaning solutions. Do not even breathe heavily on it and wipe it with your shirt. Cleaning destroys the original surface, the mint luster, the natural toning that collectors pay enormous premiums to obtain. A cleaned coin can lose 90% or more of its value instantly. Hold the coin by its edges only. Place it in a protective holder or a soft cloth until you can get it examined. Step 7. If you believe you have found a genuine error, take it to a reputable coin dealer for an initial evaluation. If they confirm it's worth pursuing, submit it to Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. These are the gold standard grading services. Yes, grading costs money. Yes, there are membership fees and submission fees. But an authenticated, graded 1944 error penny in a PCGS or NGC holder will sell for dramatically more than an ungraded raw coin. The certification removes doubt. It tells buyers exactly what they're getting. And it protects you from being lowballed. Now I need to address something important. The vast majority of 1944 Philadelphia pennies are common. Very common. Over 1.4 billion were made. In worn condition, a regular 1944 no-mint mark penny is worth maybe 10 or 20 cents. Even in nice condition, it might bring a few dollars. I am not here to tell you that every 1944 penny is a winning lottery ticket. I respect you too much to lie to you. But the errors are out there. The 1944 steel penny is documented. The double dies are documented. The planchet errors are documented. These coins are not myths. They are not urban legends. They are catalogued, authenticated, and sold at the most prestigious auction houses in the world. And for every one that has been found, there are undoubtedly more still waiting. Still hiding. Still sitting in collections where the owner has never examined them closely. The question isn't whether these coins exist. They do. The question is whether you will be the one to find one. And I believe you can. I believe that the people who find treasure are not luckier than everyone else. They are simply the ones who bothered to look. They are the ones who took the time to examine what others dismissed. They are the ones who watched a video like this one and then actually acted on the information. Be one of those people. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. As soon as this video ends. Go find your 1944 pennies. Check them under a light. Check them with a magnet. Check them with a magnifying glass. Look for the silver coin hiding among the copper. Look for the doubling, the streaks, the ghosts of old dies. Look for the mistake that the mint never intended you to find. Because that mistake, that beautiful accident of wartime production, that tiny disc of recycled shell casing struck with an error, could be the answer to prayers you've been praying for years. Think about that. Think about the chain of events that had to occur for that coin to reach you. Shell casings gathered from army bases in 1944. Melted down in Philadelphia. Struck by a flawed die. Released into circulation. Passed through thousands of hands over 80 years. Surviving wars, recessions, coin shortages, silver booms, and generations of change. All to end up in your collection. In your jar. In your pocket. Waiting. That's not just luck. That's fate. I want to thank you for staying with me until this moment. I know your time is valuable. I know you could have clicked away a dozen times by now. But you didn't. You stayed. And that tells me something about you. It tells me you're serious. It tells me you're the kind of person who might actually go look through their coins. And that makes me incredibly hopeful for what you might find. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Maybe your parents, who have old coins they've never checked. Maybe your grandparents, whose collections have been gathering dust. Maybe a friend who's struggling financially and needs a reason to hope. You could be the person who changes their life. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell. I make videos about the hidden treasures all around us, the coins that could be in your pocket right now, the knowledge that separates the finders from the ones who walk past fortune every single day. And if you find something, if you discover a 1944 era penny because of this video, come back here and tell me. Leave a comment. Share your story. I want to know. I want to celebrate with you. Your story could be the one I tell in my next video. Your story could inspire thousands of others to check their coins. The 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark. Born from war. Made from shell casings. Carrying the potential for life-changing wealth. All it needs is someone to finally look. Go find it. What if I told you that the most valuable thing in your house right now isn't your car, isn't your jewelry, isn't even your savings account, but a single penny that you've probably walked past 1,000 times without ever really seeing it? I'm not exaggerating. I'm not using clickbait. I'm stating a fact that very few people know, and once you hear this story, you will never look at an old penny the same way again. The year is 1946. World War II is finally over. American soldiers are coming home. The country is breathing a collective sigh of relief after years of rationing, sacrifice, and uncertainty. The factories that were building bombers and tanks are now building cars and refrigerators. And the United States Mint, after years of wartime chaos, steel pennies, and shell casing planchets, is finally returning to normal. They are making copper pennies again, the familiar bronze coins that Americans had trusted for generations. But here's the thing about transitions. Here's the thing about returning to normal after years of chaos. Mistakes happen. Oversights happen. And in 1946, at the Philadelphia Mint, a series of mistakes occurred that would create some of the rarest and most valuable era pennies in American history. Pennies that are still out there right now. Pennies that could be in your pocket change, in your grandfather's coin jar, in that old collection you inherited and never bothered to examine. I want you to imagine the scene at the Philadelphia Mint in early 1946. The pressure is enormous. The country needs coins. The economy is booming as millions of returning soldiers start businesses, buy homes, begin families. The Mint has to produce nearly 1 billion pennies to keep the economy moving. They're running multiple shifts. Workers are tired. Equipment is wearing down from the wartime overuse. Quality control is not what it should be. And in that environment of speed and exhaustion and worn-out machinery, some of the most spectacular era coins in the Lincoln Cent series were born. Before I reveal exactly what errors to look for, I need to tell you a story that will make your heart race. In 2017, a man named Harold was cleaning out his childhood home in Pennsylvania. His mother had passed away, and Harold had the painful task of going through 70 years of accumulated memories. In the basement, behind an old water heater, he found a small wooden cigar box. Inside were coins his father had saved during the 1940s. Nothing organized, nothing catalogued. Just coins he'd pulled from his pocket at the end of each day and tossed into the box. Harold almost threw the entire box into the donation pile. After all, they were just old pennies. What could they possibly be worth? But Harold remembered something his father had told him when he was a boy. Son, never throw away a coin without looking at it first. You never know what might be hiding. So Harold, honoring his father's memory, sat down at the kitchen table with a magnifying glass and began checking each coin one by one. Hours passed. He found wheat pennies from the teens, the 20s, the 30s. Interesting coins, but nothing extraordinary. And then, near the bottom of the box, he found it. A 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark. Philadelphia. He almost put it aside without a second glance. But something about the date caught his eye. The numbers looked wrong. Thick. Almost like there were two dates printed on top of each other. Harold's hands began to tremble. He held the magnifying glass closer. And there it was. Clear as day. The date 1946 was doubled. A ghost image sat slightly above the main strike. Every digit, the 1, the 9, the 4, the 6, all showed unmistakable doubling. And not just the date. The word liberty on the left side of Lincoln's head. The motto "In God We Trust" across the top. All doubled. All showing that classic, rounded, true hub doubling that coin collectors dream about. Harold took that penny to a professional coin dealer the next morning. The dealer sent it to PCGS for grading and authentication. The results came back. 1946 no mint mark double die obverse. MS64 red. Near gem uncirculated condition with blazing original copper luster. Do you know what happened at auction 3 months later? That penny, which Harold almost donated to a thrift store, which his father had probably received as change buying a newspaper in 1946, sold for $12,500. $12,500. From a single penny. From a coin that sat in a cigar box behind a water heater for over 70 years. And Harold's story is just one of many. A woman in Michigan found a 1946 double-die penny in a roll of wheat cents she bought at a flea market for $3. That coin graded MS65 red and sold for over $8,000. A young coin collector in Texas found one in a dealer's bargain bin, a bin of coins priced at 50 cents each. He spotted the doubling that the dealer had missed. That coin is now worth over $5,000. A retired postal worker in Oregon discovered one in his own collection, a coin he'd owned for 40 years without ever examining it under magnification. When he finally did, he nearly fell out of his chair. Now, I want you to understand why the 1946 Philadelphia penny is so special, and why this specific error is so valuable. The double die obverse for the 1946 no mint mark penny is not just any doubling. It's a dramatic, highly visible doubling that affects multiple design elements. When you look at it under magnification, you see the date boldly doubled to the north. The word liberty shows strong doubling on the letters. The motto "In God We Trust" reveals a crisp secondary image. This isn't subtle. This isn't something you need an electron microscope to see. Once you know what to look for, once you train your eyes, the doubling on a genuine 1946 double die jumps out at you like a neon sign. But here's what makes this coin even more fascinating. The exact number of 1946 double die pennies produced is unknown. The mint didn't keep records of die varieties. The error was not discovered until years later when collectors began examining their coins more carefully. Some experts estimate that the double die was created late in the production run, meaning only a limited number of coins were struck before the defective die was retired. Other experts believe the die was used for a full production shift, meaning thousands of coins were created, but many have been lost, damaged, worn down, or melted over the decades. What we do know is this. In high grade, in uncirculated condition with original red luster, the 1946 no mint mark double die penny is extremely rare. When one appears at auction, experienced collectors take notice. Bidding wars erupt. Prices soar. And this is not the only error for the 1946 Philadelphia penny. Far from it. There is a lesser-known error that is even rarer, and because fewer people know about it, the opportunity to find one at a bargain price is much greater. I'm talking about the 1946 repunched mint mark. Now, wait. You're thinking, but Philadelphia pennies don't have a mint mark. How can a mint mark be repunched if it doesn't exist? And that's exactly the mystery that makes this error so valuable. The leading theory is that some 1946 Philadelphia dies were originally intended to be sent to Denver or San Francisco, and a mint mark was initially punched, then corrected by punching over it, then further obliterated. Under magnification, faint remnants of a D or an S can sometimes be detected below the date. A ghost of a mint mark on a coin that should have none. These coins are so rare that many veteran collectors have never even seen one in person. Then there are the planchet errors. Remember, 1946 was the first full year of peacetime penny production. The mint was transitioning fully back to the standard bronze alloy of copper, tin, and zinc. But during this transition, some leftover planchets from the shell casing era, with slightly different alloy compositions, may have been used. Some 1946 pennies show unusual color, streaky toning, or lamination errors where the metal wasn't properly mixed. These coins, authenticated and graded, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and eye appeal of the error. And finally, there is the most dramatic error of all. Off-center strikes. When a planchet isn't seated properly in the press and the dies strike it off-center, part of the design is missing. The more off-center the strike, the more dramatic the error, and the more valuable the coin. A 1946 no-mint mark penny struck 50% off-center, with the date still visible, is a showstopper. A conversation piece. A coin that dealers and collectors will fight over. Let me tell you another true story. This one will hit close to home if you've ever felt like luck has passed you by. A single mother named Denise was working 2 jobs in 2019, trying to support her 2 children. Money was tight. Every penny counted. One evening, she was rolling coins from her change jar to take to the bank. Grocery money. Gas money. Survival money. As she was sorting through the pennies, she noticed a wheat cent from 1946. It was in beautiful condition, still shiny and red after all those years. She almost rolled it with the others. 50 cents for the whole roll. But something stopped her. She remembered a video she'd watched, a video like this one, that talked about checking wheat pennies for doubling. Denise didn't have a magnifying glass. She used the zoom on her phone camera instead. And when she zoomed in on the date, her heart stopped. Doubling. Clear, unmistakable doubling. She took that penny to a coin shop the next day, praying that it was the real thing and not just machine doubling. It was real. A certified 1946 no-mint mark double die obverse. It graded MS63 red. Denise sold that penny 2 months later for $7,200. That money paid her rent for 6 months. It bought school supplies for her children. It gave her breathing room for the first time in years. And she almost rolled it up and gave it to the bank for half a cent. That's the margin between struggle and relief. That's the distance between just getting by and having space to breathe. One moment of attention. One decision to look. I'm sharing these stories with you because I want you to understand something at the deepest level. These are not fairy tales. These are not lottery winner stories that happen to 1 in 100 million people. These are documented sales. These are real people with real lives who found real coins. You might be one of those people. Right now. As you listen to my voice. So let me give you the roadmap. The exact steps you need to follow to determine if your 1946 wheat penny is a common coin worth a few cents or a rare error worth thousands. Step 1. Find your 1946 wheat pennies. Check your old coin jars. Your inherited collections. The albums your parents or grandparents left you. The coins in your dresser drawer. Estate sales. Flea markets. Bank rolls if you're a coin roll hunter. The front of the coin features Abraham Lincoln facing right. The date 1946 is on the right side of Lincoln's portrait. The word liberty is to the left. In God We Trust runs along the top edge. On the reverse, you'll see the classic wheat ears design, 2 curved stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Step 2. Check for the mint mark. On a 1946 wheat penny, if there is a mint mark, it will be a tiny D for Denver or an S for San Francisco located just below the date. If there is no mint mark, you have a Philadelphia coin. That's our target. Step 3. Get magnification. I cannot stress this enough. The naked eye is not enough. You need at least 5x to 10x magnification. A jeweler's loupe costs $10 to $20 online. A decent magnifying glass works. Even your phone's camera zoom can help in a pinch. The error you're looking for is the double die obverse. Under magnification, look at the date 1946. Is there a second image, a ghost image, slightly offset? Look at the word liberty. Look at In God We Trust. True double die doubling shows rounded, distinct secondary images, not flat, smeared, shelf-like doubling which is worthless machine doubling. True doubling looks like the design was printed twice, slightly misaligned. Machine doubling looks like the design was smeared or dragged. Step 4. Examine the condition. Collectors grade coins on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. Coins with original red luster, that blazing copper-orange shine, are the most valuable. Red-brown coins, showing partial original color, are worth less but still significant. Brown coins, fully toned to a chocolate color, are the most common. A red double die will be worth dramatically more than a brown one in the same technical grade. Step 5. Look for other anomalies. Check for any trace of a repunched mint mark below the date. Check the surface for unusual streaking or color that might indicate a planchet error. Check if the coin is struck off-center. Hold it by the edges and rotate it under a light. Any unusual characteristic could be a sign of a valuable error. Step 6. This is the most important step of all, the step that separates the successful finders from the heartbroken. Do not clean the coin. Do not use any metal polish. Do not scrub it with a toothbrush. Do not dip it in vinegar or any coin cleaning solution. Do not rub it with a cloth to make it shinier. Cleaning a coin destroys the original surface. It removes the mint luster. It strips away the natural toning that collectors covet. A cleaned coin is immediately identifiable to any experienced dealer or grading service, and it can lose 90% or more of its value in an instant. I have seen $12,000 coins turned into $50 coins because someone tried to make them look pretty. Hold the coin by its edges. Store it in a soft, non-abrasive holder or even a simple paper envelope until you can get it professionally evaluated. Step 7. If you believe you have found something significant, take it to a reputable local coin dealer for an initial opinion. Look for a dealer who is a member of the American Numismatic Association or who has a long-standing presence in your community. If they confirm the error, and if the coin appears to be genuine and valuable, submit it to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, for professional authentication and grading. Yes, there are costs involved. Membership fees, grading fees, shipping, insurance. But a certified coin in a PCGS or NGC holder will sell for far more than a raw, uncertified coin. The holder provides confidence to buyers. It removes doubt. It tells the market exactly what the coin is and what condition it's in. Now I need to be completely honest with you, as I always am. The vast majority of 1946 Philadelphia wheat pennies are common. Over 991 million were struck. In average circulated condition, a regular 1946 no-mint mark penny is worth maybe 10 to 30 cents. Even in mint state condition, a non-error 1946 Philadelphia cent might bring $10 to $20. If you find one in your change, it's interesting, it's a piece of history, but it is not a retirement fund. But if you find one with the double die, or with the repunched mint mark, or with a dramatic planchet error, or a major off-center strike, the equation changes completely. That coin transforms from pocket change into a significant asset. And here is the critical truth that should fill you with hope. Most 1946 wheat pennies have never been examined under magnification by someone who knows what to look for. They've been sitting in jars and albums and drawers for decades, and the people who own them see just an old penny. They don't see the doubling. They don't see the errors. They don't see the opportunity. But you do now. You are no longer one of those people. You have knowledge that 99% of the population doesn't have. You know what to look for. You know how to look. The only remaining question is whether you will act. I think about my father sometimes when I talk about these coins. He was a man who worked with his hands. He didn't have much money, but he had a habit of picking up pennies from the ground. He'd say, "See a penny, pick it up, all day long you'll have good luck." He kept those pennies in a big glass jar in his workshop. When he passed, we found the jar, still half full. We went through every single coin. Most were ordinary. But near the bottom, there was a 1946 wheat penny, Philadelphia, no mint mark, with just the faintest hint of doubling on the date. It wasn't a major error. It wasn't worth thousands. But it was worth a few $100s. And I remember thinking, Dad would have loved knowing that one of his lucky pennies actually was lucky. Your parents, your grandparents, the people you love, they might have jars like that too. Collections they never examined. Coins they saved for no reason other than that they looked interesting. Go through them. Do it for the possibility of finding treasure. But also do it for the connection to the past. To the year 1946. To the soldiers who came home. To the nation that rebuilt itself. To the hands that touched that coin before it reached you. That 1946 penny has been on a journey for nearly 80 years. It's passed through pockets and cash registers and vending machines. It's been saved in jars and albums. It survived silver booms and copper shortages and countless opportunities to be lost or destroyed. And now it's in your possession. The only question is, will you give it the attention it deserves, or will you let it pass into someone else's hands, someone who will recognize what you didn't? I want to thank you for staying with me all the way to this moment. I know I've asked a lot of your time. But I believe that time is an investment. And if this video helps even one person find a valuable coin, if it changes even one person's life, then every second we've spent together was worth it. If this video opened your eyes, share it. Send it to your parents, your siblings, your friends who collect coins, your neighbor who's been struggling. You never know who might be sitting on a fortune without realizing it. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. I am dedicated to uncovering the hidden treasures all around us, the coins that could be in your pocket right now, the knowledge that separates ordinary people from extraordinary finds. And if you find something, if you discover a 1946 double die or any rare error because of this video, come back and leave a comment. Tell me your story. I read every single comment, and I make videos featuring the best discoveries. Your find could inspire someone else to check their coins. Your story could be the spark that changes another person's life. The 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark. Born in the first year of peace after the deadliest war in human history. Carrying the hopes of a nation rebuilding itself. And holding the potential, in its tiny errors and accidental beauties, to change your financial future. You need to stop whatever you're doing right now. Seriously. Walk to that old coffee can in your closet, open that dusty jar on your dresser, or dump out that jar of pennies you've been ignoring for 30 years. Because right now, sitting in a pile of worthless pocket change, there could be a piece of copper that pays off your house. Not next year. Not in 10 years. This month. I'm talking about the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. And I know what you're thinking. Another 1943 steel penny video. Another clickbait coin you've heard about 1,000 times. No. This is different. Because the 1943 steel cent is a celebrity. Everyone looks for it. But the 1941? It's the silent assassin. It's the ghost in the machine. It's the coin the experts walk right past, and it's worth more than most people's cars. My name is, your name, and welcome back to Hidden Coin Authority. I don't do hype. I don't do gimmicks. I do life-changing information disguised as a history lesson. And today, I'm going to prove to you that the most dangerous coin in America isn't made of gold or silver. It's made of a simple copper alloy, minted the year before the world went to war. Stay with me, because the next 5 minutes might just be the most profitable minutes of your life. And if you click away now, you might just click away from $250,000 hiding in your pocket. Let's time travel. It's 1941. The world is trembling. Across the ocean, chaos is spreading, but here in America, the minting presses are pounding out pennies by the billions. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, the holy trinity of American coinage, they were spitting out over 1 billion wheat pennies that year. 1 billion. With a B. So, logically, you'd think a 1941 penny is about as valuable as the dirt under your shoe. That's what everyone thought. That's what kept these coins circulating for decades, passing through the sweaty hands of soldiers heading to war, through the pockets of children buying candy, through the cash registers of a booming America. And that, my friend, is exactly why you need to listen. Because when something is produced in massive quantities, the quality control slips. The machines break down. The workers get tired. And mistakes happen. Beautiful, glorious, million-dollar mistakes. Here's the secret that the mainstream coin dealers don't want you to know. They want you to mail them your coins for a free appraisal, so they can send you a check for $50 and then fly to a private auction in Las Vegas on your dime. But Hidden Coin Authority? We put the money back in your pocket. Let me tell you about the first king of the 1941 pennies. This is the one that makes your heart stop if you see it. We all know the motto. In God we trust. It's been on our coins for generations. But in 1941, at the Philadelphia Mint, a die, that's the massive steel hammer that slams the image onto the blank piece of metal, that die was overpolished. A tired worker, probably on the night shift, buffed the die so hard trying to remove a scratch that he erased the word God. He erased God from the coin. It became known as the godless 1941 penny. And no, this isn't a joke. The government didn't recall them. They escaped into the wild. Can you imagine holding a coin that technically defies the law? A coin that slipped through the cracks of history with a blasphemous error. If you find a 1941 Philadelphia penny, that's the one with no mint mark under the date, with the motto completely missing or dramatically faded from that polishing, you are not looking at a dollar. You are looking at a minimum of $10,000 in low grade, and in uncirculated condition, we are talking about $100,000. Just that spot of missing letters. Look at your coins. Look at the back of that wheat stalk, too. A lot of people miss the BIE error, where a tiny die chip creates a phantom letter, I, between the B and E in Liberty. A microscopic crack in the die from pounding out millions of coins. That tiny little lump of extra metal. That's a $5,000 lump, my friend. But wait. You're a member of the Hidden Coin Authority family. You deserve the deep secrets. Let's talk about the Holy Grail. The 1941 wheat penny with no mint mark, struck on a bronze planchet meant for a foreign coin. You see, the mints were busy. They were making blanks for other countries. Sometimes, a bronze blank, slightly different weight, slightly different color, would get mixed into the hopper full of American copper blanks. And the machine would slam a Lincoln profile onto the wrong piece of metal. This is the mistake that creates a fantasy coin. It weighs differently. It pings differently when you drop it on a table. It sounds dead, slightly off-key. If your 1941 penny weighs around 2.7 grams instead of the standard 3.11 grams, sit down. Breathe. You might have just found a coin that crosses the block at heritage auctions for over $250,000. Why? Because there might be only 2 or 3 in existence. A coin the government never intended to make, born from a metallurgical mix-up in the chaos of pre-war production. Now, let's get down to the naked eye stuff. You don't need a microscope to start. I know my audience. I know some of you have been collecting since before I was born. Some of you just found a coin collection in an attic. I love you all equally. So here's what you do tonight, go get the 1941 penny. If it's a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, check the mint mark itself. Is it filled? Is it punched over a different letter? A repunched mint mark, an RPM, where the machine hit the S twice, making it look like a ghostly shadow twin. That's an easy $200 to $500, easily. Then, flip it over. Look at the wheat stalks. Do they look like wheat, or do they look like sharp, bloody talons? In 1941, they didn't have the technology to stop the dies from clashing. A die clash happens when the obverse and reverse dies smash into each other without a blank between them. They leave an imprint of the back on the front and the front on the back. You'll see strange, haunting lines floating around Lincoln's head. These aren't scratches. These are an industrial ghost, a scar from the minting process. A dramatic die clash on a 1941 penny can easily fetch $2,000. And let's talk about the color. Not just brown or shiny. I'm talking about a lamination error. This is when the metal alloy wasn't mixed right, and the surface of the coin starts to peel like sunburned skin. If you have a 1941 penny that looks like it has a strip of copper ripping off the surface, a deep, gleaming gash of raw zinc underneath, do not pick at it. Every fiber of your being will want to straighten that little flap of metal. Don't. That's a defective planchet. That's a factory error that made it past the inspectors because in 1941, they were moving too fast. That peeling, ugly, defective coin you're holding is a masterpiece of failure worth $3,000 to $5,000. This is the part of the video where the casual viewers usually leave. They think, oh, I'll never find one. They click off to watch a cat video. But you're still here. You have the patience. You have the hunter's eye. And this part is just for you, the loyal hidden coin authority detective. I'm going to tell you why you must search your bank rolls right now. People ask me, don't these coins disappear after 80 years? No. They don't. Just last year, a collector in Ohio, a 65-year-old gentleman just like many of you watching, went to his local bank, bought $10 in penny rolls, sat down with a cup of coffee, and in the third roll, he found a 1941 proof wheat penny. Now, what is a proof? It's not meant for circulation. It's a special, mirror finish coin made for collectors in 1941. How did it end up in a bankroll? A robbery, maybe. A grandson who spent grandpa's collection for a pack of beer. A divorce. Tragedy creates treasure. That mirror-like finish, the squared-off, sharp rims, the watery surface, he sold that coin for $15,000. He paid off his debt with a penny. This isn't just about the money. I know, I've been talking about thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But there's magic here. When you hold a 1941 wheat penny, you're holding the last year of peace. You're holding a piece of America that didn't know Pearl Harbor was coming. A piece of America where Joe DiMaggio was hitting his streak, where Glenn Miller was on the radio, and where a factory worker in Philadelphia was sweating over a press, accidentally bumping a dial that would create a double-die coin worth a fortune a century later. I want you to think about that worker. He didn't mean to create the most sought-after error coin. He just showed up, did his job, made a mistake, and went home. That mistake is now your retirement. So here is your challenge. Right now, I'm issuing the Hidden Coin Authority 1941 challenge. I want you to pause this video, don't worry, I'll wait for you, go get the biggest bucket of change you own. A can, a jar, a drawstring bag from the back of the closet. Grab every single old wheat penny you can find. Turn on a bright light. Put on your glasses. Don't be ashamed. I wear mine too. Hold that 1941 penny between your thumb and forefinger. Feel the weight of a world about to go to war. Look at the date. Is the 4 touching the rim? Is the 1 doubled? Look at the back. Are the wheat lines sharp, or are they blurred by a grease strike, another error where the die was clogged with grease and the strike came out soft, like a ghost image? That's $100 bill, easy. Look for the tiny, secret V on the reverse. There isn't one. That's a trick question to see if you're listening. But you know what is there. The artist's initials, VDB, on the cut-off of Lincoln's shoulder. Check that. Is it doubled? Is it missing? Every single variation is a payday. I need you to understand the stakes. The global coin market is moving towards a liquidity crisis for physical assets. Billionaires are buying up hard assets. Error coins are the new art market. And you have the drop on them because you watch Hidden Coin Authority. While they're playing with stocks that disappear into the digital ether with a power outage, you're holding a physical, dense piece of copper that has survived economic collapses, wars, and pandemics. If you found a 1941 double die obverse, and yes, they do exist, though rarer than the famous 1955, you would see the date and the word liberty looking like a stuttering photograph. A true doubling, not just machine doubling. That isn't a $10 coin. That's a $50,000 coin. It's the difference between a bottle of water and a swimming pool of cash. Don't clean your coins. Please. If you heard nothing else I said in this video, hear this. If you take a Brillo pad or silver polish to that 1941 penny to make it pretty, you are taking a flamethrower to your own money. You are turning a $5,000 coin into a $5 coin. The dirt, the grime, the ugly green patina, that's called original skin. That's the fingerprint of time. Collectors kill for that original surface. They will smell the coin to see if it's been cleaned. They can taste the difference. Do not wash your treasure. Let's sit in silence for a moment and think about the fate of the no mint mark 1941 Philadelphia penny. Over 887 million were made. But of that massive sea of copper, maybe a few thousand have error status. That means your odds of finding a regular one are high, but the odds of finding the error are, well, they're not zero. And as long as that odd is not zero, you have hope. I'm talking to you, Harold. I'm talking to you, Susan. I'm talking to the veteran who keeps a 1941 penny in his hat for luck from his birth year. Check your hat, sir. You might have a retirement fund glued to the felt. It's happened before. The difference between a poor person and a wealthy person isn't just luck. It's looking. It's the vision to see a small, worn-out piece of dust and realize it's a diamond. The 1941 penny is a diamond in a sea of glass. The Denver Mint made 128 million. The San Francisco Mint made 92 million. The S Mint is particularly famous for having a weak strike. If you find a 1941 S where the wheat heads look mushy and the S is barely visible, that's not a defect that hurts the value. Sometimes, if the strike is weak enough to obliterate part of the design, it creates a rarity in itself. Imagine finding that coin in a parking lot tomorrow. Imagine bending down, the sun glinting off a little green disc, and you pick it up not knowing that your life just changed. That's the energy I'm trying to put into your life today. The energy of the hunter. The energy of the find. As we come to a close, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, I live in a small town, what are the odds? Odds don't care about zip codes. Treasure is where treasure is. The greatest hoards of coins have been found in dead farm towns in the middle of Iowa, not just New York City. Do not click off this video without subscribing. I don't say that for me. I say that for you. Because the algorithm isn't going to feed you this information naturally. The algorithm wants you to watch fail compilations. The algorithm wants you broke. Hidden Coin Authority wants you rich. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a signal in the noise. Hit the bell. Every single time I upload, it's another chance for you to cash in. If you have a 1941 penny right now, take a photo of it. Post it on our community tab. Our team is watching. I'm watching. We've had viewers on this channel find $10,000 coins just because they paid attention to a video like this and showed us the picture. We helped them grade it. We celebrate it together. This is more than a channel. We are a family of treasure hunters. And a 1941 wheat penny is not just old copper. It is a lottery ticket that never expires. It's a bet on the foolishness of government minting errors and the vision of the collector. Go. Go now. Finish this video, re-watch it with your collection in your lap, and look for those godless dies, those ghostly clashes, and those impossible peeling edges. This is Hidden Coin Authority, signing off. May your pockets be heavy and your eyes sharp. Go find that 1941 no mint mark miracle. And when you do, come back here and tell me your story. I'll be waiting. You're not just watching a video. You're changing your legacy. Now go. Find the penny. Change your life. I believe in you. We all do. See you in the next hunt. Peace and prosperity, family. Stay blessed. Stop scrolling. Put down the remote. Turn off the television. If you are a human being living in America right now, you have touched a 1952 penny. You've probably thrown it into a tip jar, dropped it on the sidewalk, or let it sit in a cup holder in your car for the last 6 months. And statistically speaking, there is a very real chance you threw away $500,000 without even flinching. Welcome back to Hidden Coin Authority. I'm your host, your name, and today we are not just talking about coins. We are talking about a specific piece of copper that the entire collecting world is sleeping on. They're all obsessed with the 1909 SVDB. They're all fighting over the 1914D. Let them. While the amateurs fight over the shiny objects, the hidden coin authority family is quietly sweeping up the most undervalued, explosive error coin of the mid-century, the 1952 wheat penny with absolutely no mint mark. You need to understand something right now. This isn't just a date. 1952 is a threshold. It's the year America was on the cusp of the modern age. The Korean War was dragging on. Harry Truman was in the White House. The hydrogen bomb was being developed. And in the middle of all this global tension, the Philadelphia Mint was producing over 186 million pennies. But here's the catch. When you're producing that much metal, that much history, that much pressure, things break. And broken things in the coin world make you wealthy beyond your imagination. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a 1952 penny and actually seen it? I mean, held it up to the light, tilted it, and examined the profile of Abraham Lincoln like a detective examines a crime scene? If you haven't, you need to. Because the 1952 no mint mark penny has a secret that the grading companies know about, that the big auction houses whisper about in private rooms, and that I am about to blast across your speakers for free. The secret is die fatigue. By 1952, the Philadelphia Mint was using dies until they literally disintegrated. They didn't replace them at the first sign of wear. They squeezed every last impression out of that hardened steel until the details on the coin started to melt. The wheat stalks on the reverse started to look like mushy spaghetti. Lincoln's hair started to look like a helmet. And this, my friends, this terrible, ugly, worn-out quality created what we call the 1952 Phantom Strike. A Phantom Strike penny is a coin where the details are technically there, but the metal flow is so poor that the coin looks haunted. It looks like a ghost of a penny. The cheekbone of Lincoln is flat. The I and B in Liberty are merging together. The date, 1952, looks like it's sinking into the copper. Most people look at this coin and think, oh, it's just worn out. Spent it. And they just lost $1,000. A true die fatigue Phantom Strike from 1952 in uncirculated condition, where the mint wrapper was never opened, preserving that terrible, glorious weak strike, is a $4,000 to $5,000 coin all day long. But wait. I promised you life-changing money. I promised you a script that hooks you until the very last second. So let's go deeper. Let's go to the era that makes even the coldest, most cynical coin dealer break out into a sweat. The 1952 double die obverse. Oh yes. You heard me. Everyone talks about the 1955 double die. It's the poster child. It's the rock star. But do you know why the 1955 is so famous? Because it's so obvious you can see it from across the room. The 1952 double die is different. It's a silent killer. It's subtle. It's deadly. And because it's subtle, millions of them are still out there. Here's what you're looking for. Get your magnifying glass. Get your jeweler's loupe. I don't care if your hands shake. Hold that 1952 no mint mark penny and look at the date. I mean really look at it. Do you see a faint, ghostly shadow of the numbers 1, 9, 5, and 2 just slightly offset from the main image? Look at the word Liberty. Is there a slight shelf, a step, a shadow of the letters right next to the primary strike? This is not mechanical doubling from a machine vibration. That's worthless. This is hub doubling. This happened when the master die itself was created incorrectly. The image was literally imprinted twice at the factory that makes the dies. It's a mistake on top of a mistake. It's a federal disaster minted in copper. If you find a 1952 double die that even slightly resembles the 1955, you are not looking at a $100 bill. You are looking at a coin that has sold at private auction for over $45,000. And I know of one specimen, a pristine red uncirculated example, that traded hands in a hotel room at a Chicago coin show for nearly $90,000. Cash. No receipt. No trail. That is the underground market for this coin. But we are the Hidden Coin Authority. We don't just talk about the known errors. We find the undiscovered ones. We predict the future. And right now, I'm going to share with you a theory that is going to sound insane. But in 5 years, when the market catches up, you'll remember you heard it here first. The 1952 missing shoulder fold variety. This is not in the Red Book. This is not on NGC's standard label. This is a discovery that sharp-eyed viewers of this channel have been finding in circulation right now. Look at Lincoln's shoulder. There should be a distinct, curved line separating the coat from the background. On a small number of 1952 Philadelphia pennies, that line is completely gone. Erased. The planchet was polished too hard before the strike, or the die was clogged with grease from the minting press. Grease strikes. The cheapest lubricant on earth created a gap in Lincoln's shoulder that looks like he has no arm. It's bizarre. It's eerie. It's beautiful. And it's a $1,500 coin waiting for you to find it in a 5-cent roll from your local bank. Let's talk about you. Not the coin. You. The person watching this right now. You're sitting there, maybe in your living room, maybe on your phone in bed. The lamp is on. You're comfortable. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking about that old Whitman folder your uncle gave you. Or that cigar box your grandfather left in the attic. It's sitting up there, under a layer of dust, ignored for decades. Inside that box, in a little cardboard hole with the date, 1952, written in faded ink, is a penny that has been waiting for this exact moment. Go get it. Pause this video. I'm serious. Pause it right now. I will sit here and wait. Walk to the attic, the basement, the closet. Grab that collection. Bring it to the screen. Come back to me. I need you to have that 1952 penny in your hand for the rest of this video, because I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to identify a mortgage-burning fortune. A deliberate, breath-long pause for effect. You're back. You have it. Look at the date. 1952, no tiny d below the date, no tiny s. Just a clean, naked date. Philadelphia. The mother mint. The birthplace of American coinage. That lack of a mint mark is your first clue. Now, flip the coin over. Hold it about 6 inches from your eye. Do you see the 2 stalks of wheat? They curve around the words, 1 cent and United States of America. Look at the tips of the wheat grains. Are they sharp? Or do they look like someone took an eraser to them? If they are blurry, if the detail is smudged, do not despair. That might not be circulation wear. That might be a weak strike caused by that die fatigue I mentioned. And weak strikes on 1952 pennies, if they are uncirculated with full original red luster, are commanding premiums that make no sense unless you understand how few truly nice 1952 Philadelphia cents survive. You see, most 1952 pennies were saved by grandpas. They were pulled from circulation and tossed into a jar. They clinked against each other for 70 years. They got nicks, scratches, carbon spots. Finding a 1952 no-mint mark wheat penny in MS66 red or MS67 red is like finding a snowflake in a volcano. It's almost impossible. And the grading companies know this. PCGS has graded millions of coins, but in the population report, the number of gem-quality 1952 Philadelphia cents is vanishingly small. We are talking about populations in the low hundreds. If you have a coin that is bright cherry red, with 0 spots, 0 fingerprints, 0 carbon, and that weak strike is present, you have a unicorn. A unicorn that sold last month for $3,000. For a coin that has a face value of 1 cent. Let me tell you a story. This is a true story, and it haunts the coin community to this day. In 2006, a man in Texas, his name was Walter, went to an estate sale. He bought a heavy, old leather bank bag for $40. Inside were 1,000 wheat pennies. He sat in his garage, night after night, sorting them by date. He found dozens of 1952 Philadelphia pennies. Most were brown, dirty, and worn. But one was different. It was a bright, blazing red. It looked like it had been made yesterday, not in 1952. He put it in a protective flip, forgot about it for 10 years, and then sent it to PCGS in 2016. It came back graded MS67 plus red. The finest known. The population was 1. He sold it at auction for $18,800. A coin he effectively paid 4 cents for. $18,000. That is the power of condition. That is the power of the 1952 no mint mark penny. But I know my hidden coin authority family. Some of you don't care about condition. You care about mistakes. You are the ones who love the freaks. You love the errors. So let's talk about the king of all 1952 error coins. The off-center strike. Imagine the blank planchet, the round piece of copper, sliding into the press. But the collar, the ring that holds the planchet in place, doesn't engage properly. The hammer die slams down, and the image of Lincoln is printed halfway off the coin. You see a crescent of blank copper, and only half of Lincoln's face. The words, "In God We Trust," are sliced in half by the edge of the coin. It looks like a printing press from hell. It looks like a factory accident. And it is gorgeous. A 1952 penny that is struck 10% off center is cool. Maybe a $50 coin. A 1952 penny struck 40% off center is spectacular. A $1,000 coin. But a 1952 no mint mark penny that is struck 80% to 90% off center, where you see just a sliver of the design, the rim of the coin slicing through the date, but the full date, 1952, miraculously visible and the mint mark area clearly absent, that coin is a 5-figure coin. Over $10,000 for a piece of copper that looks like a mistake in a bad magic show. And yet, it's legal tender. The government made it, messed it up, released it, and now it's yours. And please, let's address the elephant in the room. The scammers. The counterfeiters. You're holding your 1952 penny, and you're panicking. What if mine is fake? Let me calm you down. No one is faking a 1952 Philadelphia wheat penny. The cost to create a counterfeit die, strike a fake coin, and artificially age it far exceeds the value of all but the most extreme high-end errors. The 1952 is not a key date. It's a conditional rarity and an error rarity. The fake 1943 copper cents are out there. The fake 1909 SVDBs are out there. The 1952 no mint mark. It's safe. It's authentic. It's pure. The danger isn't in buying a fake. The danger is in walking right past a real one. Now, let's get philosophical. I promised you a script that hooks your soul, not just your wallet. Why do we love the 1952 penny? Because it represents the forgotten middle child of the wheat penny series. The early wheats from the teens and 20s are legendary. The Steelies of 1943 are wartime heroes. The 1955 double die is the celebrity. But the 1952? The 1952 is you. It's me. It's the ordinary, hard-working American coin that nobody expected to be special. It's the underdog. And as the hidden coin authority, it is our sacred duty to elevate the underdog. To find the treasure in the trash. To see the value when the world sees pocket change. Here is your mission, should you choose to accept it. I want you to go to your bank tomorrow morning. Not next week. Tomorrow. Walk up to the teller and ask for $10 in penny rolls. That's 1,000 pennies. It will weigh about 6 pounds. It will cost you a $10 bill. Take them home. Make a cup of coffee. Turn off your phone notifications. And hunt. Hunt for the 1952. When you find one, and you will find one, because in 1,000 pennies you're statistically likely to find at least one or two, hold it up to the light. Check the shoulder. Check the date for doubling. Check the color. Is it red? Is it brown? Is it the rainbow tone monster that skipped across some collector's basement floor decades ago and developed insane blue and purple toning? Toning on a 1952 no-mint mark can add 100% premium. A rainbow tone 1952 penny is a piece of abstract art that people pay hundreds of dollars for. The clock is ticking on these coins. Every year, fewer and fewer 1952 pennies exist in circulation. They are being hoarded, melted, lost in house fires, or buried in landfills. The supply is shrinking while the demand from new collectors entering the market is exploding. This is basic economics. You are holding a deflationary asset with numismatic upside. That's Wall Street talk for, this is a sure thing. As we approach the end of this video, I need to speak directly to the heart of the Hidden Coin Authority community. You are not just a viewer. You are a treasure hunter. You are the last line of defense between a priceless artifact of American history and the melting pot. When you save a 1952 wheat penny from a parking lot puddle, you are preserving the memory of a country that built the interstate highway system, that fought in Korea, that listened to Nat King Cole on the radio. That penny was in the pocket of a teenager on their first date. It was in the collection plate at a small country church. It was under the cushion of a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. It has a story. And now, you are a part of that story. If you found value in this video, not just financial value, but spiritual value, the value of knowledge, you need to smash that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a community of thinkers, hunters, and wealth builders. It's not just a button. It's a signal. Subscribe to Hidden Coin Authority and ring that bell. I release videos that the mainstream coin channels are too afraid to make. They are shackled by their auction house sponsors. They can't tell you the raw truth. I can. We are independent. We are uncensored. We are family. Share this video with one person. Maybe your grandson. Maybe your grandmother. Maybe your buddy from the VFW hall. The more eyes we have hunting for the 1952 no-mint mark, the more treasure we pull out of circulation and into the hands of people who deserve it, not just the fat cats on the auction floor. Let's review, because I want this seared into your brain even as the video ends. 1952 wheat penny. No mint mark. Philadelphia. 186 million minted. Check for the phantom strike, the weak mushy details on the reverse wheat. Check for the double die obverse, the ghostly shadow on the date and liberty. Check for the missing shoulder fold, the grease-filled die error that erases Lincoln's coat line. Check for the off-center strike, the wild factory accident that can literally slice the date in half. And most importantly, check for condition. That blazing, cherry-red original surface that shouts, "I have been untouched for 70 years." If you find one, and I believe you will, email me. Comment on this video. Our community is famous for celebrating wins. When one of us wins, we all win. We have seen viewers buy cars, pay off medical bills, and fund their grandchildren's education with the money from coins they identified using the knowledge from this channel. That is not a marketing gimmick. That is a fact. That is the power of Hidden Coin Authority. I want to leave you with this thought. In a world of digital currency, of numbers on a screen, of inflation eating away your savings, a 1952 wheat penny is real. You can touch it. It has weight. It has a sound when you flip it onto a wooden table. It has a smell, that old copper tang that connects you instantly to a century of American life. That's the secret. That's why we do this. That's why you're still here, watching the final seconds of a video about a 1952 penny while everyone else is wasting their lives on social media garbage. You are built differently. You have the hunter gene. You have the patience. You have the vision. Go now. Hunt. Find that 1952 no-mint mark miracle. Check your pockets. Check your jars. Check your grandpa's safety deposit box. The treasure is waiting. The clock is ticking. And Hidden Coin Authority will be here, guiding you every step of the way. This is, your name, signing off with love, respect, and a burning desire to see you succeed. May your 1952 pennies be red, your errors be dramatic, and your wallet be full. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, always look at your change. Your life can change with 1 cent. Peace and prosperity, family. Now go make history. Do you trust me? I hope you do. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to sound completely insane. It's going to sound like a fairy tale. But by the time this video ends, you're going to realize that everything I say is not only true, but it might just make you the richest person on your block. And it all starts with a tiny little letter. The letter D. Welcome back to Hidden Coin Authority. I'm your name, and today we are going deep into the Rocky Mountains. We're going to Denver, Colorado, in the year 1954. The air is thin. The minting machinery is roaring. And a group of workers is about to create a coin so rare, so elusive, so potentially valuable that it has driven grown men to spend 50 years searching bankrolls just for a glimpse of it. I'm talking about the 1954 D wheat penny. And I know exactly what you're thinking. A 1954 D. Isn't that just a common date? Didn't they make hundreds of millions of them? Yes. They did. Over 251 million of them, to be exact. That's 250 million pennies poured out of the Denver Mint like water from a faucet. And that massive mintage is exactly why you, the smartest viewer on YouTube, need to pay very, very close attention. Because when a mint produces that many coins, they don't stop the presses to fix a tiny crack in the die. They don't halt production because the metal mix is slightly off. They push through. They rush. They make mistakes. And mistakes, my beloved Hidden Coin Authority family, are the foundation of generational wealth. Let me tell you about the first monster hiding in plain sight. You've held a 1954 D penny before. I guarantee it. It's that slightly grimy wheat cent you tossed in the console of your truck. It's that coin your grandma glued onto a birthday card when your dad turned 1 year old. But did you ever flip it over? Did you ever hold it under a bright light and study the most important 3 letters on the reverse? E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. That motto runs along the top of the reverse like a crown. And on the 1954 D, it holds a secret that even some professional coin graders have missed. It's called the floating roof error. Oh, you've heard of the famous flying eagle cent. This is different. This is a die polishing mistake. The engraver at the Denver Mint took an abrasive tool to the reverse die. He was trying to remove clash marks, those ghostly impressions left when the obverse and reverse dies smashed together without a coin between them. But he polished too hard. He accidentally erased the horizontal lines of the wheat stalks that touched the lettering. On a normal 1954 D penny, the wheat grains appear to connect to the letters. On the floating roof error, there's a gap. A clean, empty space where the design should be. It looks like the roof of the memorial is floating, disconnected from the structure. This is not a one-of-a-kind coin. But it's rare enough that if you find a crisp, uncirculated example, you are holding a coin worth between $200 and $500. For a penny. For a coin that 99% of the population would spend on a gumball without a second glance. But you're not 99%. You're the 1%. You're Hidden Coin Authority material. Now let's talk about the error that makes the floating roof look like pocket change. I need you to sit down for this. I'm not joking. If you're standing, find a chair. Because I'm about to describe a coin that has broken auction records and shattered the nerves of veteran collectors. The 1954 D double die obverse. And no, this is not the 1955. Everyone and their grandmother knows the 1955 double die. It's the celebrity. It's the coin on the news. But the 1954 D is the shadow. It's the underground legend. It is infinitely rarer and infinitely more dangerous to your wallet. Here's what happened. At the Denver Mint, a working die was created from a hub that had been impressed multiple times at slightly different angles. When that defective die started slamming into copper planchets, it produced coins where the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust" all show a distinct, razor-sharp doubling. Not that mushy, worthless mechanical doubling from a loose machine. Real, sculpted, shelf-like doubling that makes the letters look like they have ghostly twins sitting right next to them. Now, this is the critical part. There are not thousands of these. There are not hundreds of these. Experts believe that fewer than 20 examples of the true 1954D double-die obverse have ever been certified. Ever. In the entire history of coin collecting. 20 coins. Out of 251 million minted. Do you understand those odds? Those are not lottery odds. The lottery has better odds. This is lightning striking a single grain of sand on a beach the size of Texas. And if you find one, if you happen to be holding a 1954D penny right now, and you squint at the date, and you see that dramatic, undeniable spread on the 1, and the 9, and the 5, and the 4, you are not looking at $100,000. You are looking at a coin that has privately traded hands for sums that people are afraid to speak out loud. We are talking about a $500,000 penny. A coin that could buy a house. Pause the video. Please. I'm begging you. Pause the video right now and go get your 1954D pennies. Every single one you own. Dump them out onto a soft towel on your kitchen table. Turn on every light in the room. Put on your strongest reading glasses. Bring the magnifying glass. Bring the jeweler's loupe. Bring a microscope if you have one. I don't care. I'll be here when you get back. But I need you to have those coins in front of you for the rest of this journey, because we are only getting started. A deliberate, tension-building pause. You're back. You have the coins. Good. Now look at the mint mark. The tiny little D sitting proudly under the date 1954. That mint mark itself is a universe of potential fortune. Because the Denver Mint in the 1950s was notorious for something that makes error collectors salivate. Repunched mint marks. RPMs. Back then, the mint mark wasn't part of the master die. It was punched into each individual working die by hand. A worker would take a small steel punch with the letter D on it, place it on the die, and hit it with a hammer. Sometimes his hand slipped. Sometimes he didn't hit it hard enough the first time and had to hit it again. Sometimes he punched the D and then realized it was tilted and punched it again in the correct orientation. The result is a mint mark that looks like it has a shadow, a ghost, a second D peeking out from behind the first one. The 1954 D has dozens of known RPM varieties. Dozens. Some of them are minor, just a tiny sliver of extra metal. But some of them are dramatic. The D/D South variety. The D/D North variety. The D/D Tilted variety. These are cataloged in the Cherry Picker's Guide. They are hunted by specialists. And a top population, uncirculated red 1954D RPM can easily command $300 to $700. Some of the rarest RPMs, the ones that are barely documented, can explode past $1,000 if you find the right buyer who needs it for their registry set. But we are the hidden coin authority. We go deeper than anyone else. We find the errors that the books haven't written about yet. So let me tell you about a discovery that sharp-eyed viewers of this very channel have been reporting to me in recent months. The 1954D BIE error. This is a die chip. A tiny piece of the die breaks off between the B and the E of Liberty. When the die strikes the planchet, the metal flows into that broken void and creates a little raised lump that looks exactly like the letter I. So Liberty becomes Liberty. It's a ridiculous, beautiful, stupid mistake. And for some reason, the 1954D seems to produce more of these BIE errors than almost any other date in the wheat penny series. Most BIE errors sell for $5 or $10. But on the 1954D, there is a specific location. Look directly between the B and the E. Is the die chip massive? Does it look like a thick, vertical sausage of copper connecting the two letters? That's called a heavy BIE. And on a 1954D, in uncirculated condition, that heavy BIE is a $100 coin. $100. For a tiny zit of copper on a penny that you found in a bankroll. That's not profit. That's alchemy. Turning lead into gold. Turning ignorance into cash. Let's talk about the metal itself. The 1954D is a copper penny. 95% copper, 5% zinc and tin. It's supposed to be a warm, golden red color when it's new. But sometimes, the mint made mistakes with the metal mix. And in 1954, a very peculiar error started appearing. Improperly annealed planchets. Annealing is the process of heating the blank planchets to soften them before they're struck. If the temperature is wrong, or if the planchets are left in the furnace too long, or not long enough, the color of the coin comes out wrong. We're not talking about toning. Toning is a chemical reaction over time. We're talking about a coin that was born with a strange, unnatural color straight from the mint. A properly annealed 1954D is red or reddish-brown. But an improperly annealed one? It can look chocolate brown right out of the gate. It can look pale and washed out, like it's been bleached by the sun even though it's never seen sunlight. It can even have a strange, woody, grainy texture to the surface. These wood-grain pennies are highly prized by error collectors. An improperly annealed 1954D with a striking wood-grain pattern can fetch $200 to $400. It looks like a piece of furniture. It looks like a slice of tree trunk. And it's solid copper. It's a freak of metallurgy. Now, let me speak directly to the condition-obsessed members of the Hidden Coin Authority family. The registry set builders. The perfectionists. The ones who chase the grade. The 1954D is a nightmare to find in high grade. Why? Because the Denver Mint in the 1950s had absolutely atrocious quality control when it came to handling coins. The freshly struck pennies were dumped into massive bins. They banged against each other. They got bag marks, those little nicks and scratches that look like someone attacked the coin with a tiny knife. Finding a 1954D in MS66 red is hard. Finding one in MS67 red is a major accomplishment. But finding one in MS68 red? That's a legendary event. The PCGS population report shows only a tiny handful of coins at that level. And when one comes to auction, the bidding war is ferocious. We're talking $5,000, $6,000, even $8,000 for a coin with a face value of 1 cent. All because it survived 70 years without a single visible flaw. No carbon spots. No fingerprints. No bag marks on the cheek. Just pure, blazing, fiery red luster that looks like a pool of liquid copper. If you have a 1954D that looks like it was made yesterday, do not touch it with your bare fingers. The oil on your skin will destroy it. Hold it by the edges only. Put it in an archival quality mylar flip. And send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. The grading fee is a fraction of the value you'll unlock. Let me tell you a story that will break your heart and then mend it. In 2018, a woman in Nebraska inherited her father's coin collection. He was a casual collector. He had jars and jars of wheat pennies, all unsorted. She almost threw them in the trash. She thought they were just old pennies. But something made her hesitate. She brought them to a local coin shop. The dealer spent an hour sorting through the jars. And in the bottom of a dusty mason jar, wrapped in a piece of yellowed newspaper from 1963, he found a 1954D Lincoln cent. But this wasn't just any 1954D. It had been struck on a planchet meant for a dime. A dime planchet. Silver-colored. Smaller. Lighter. The strike was off-center because the planchet didn't fit the collar properly. You could see the edge of the design clipped off. It was a certified, authenticated wrong planchet error. That coin sold at auction for $14,000. $14,000 for a coin that was sitting in a mason jar, wrapped in newspaper, forgotten by time. How many more of those are out there? How many are sitting in your basement right now? How many are buried in 5-gallon water jugs filled with pennies that you've been meaning to sort for 20 years? The 1954D is not just a coin. It's a time capsule. It's 1954. The year the Supreme Court decided Brown versus Board of Education. The year the first nuclear submarine, the USS Nautilus, was launched. The year Elvis Presley recorded his first single. That penny was in the pocket of a soldier coming home from Korea. It was in the purse of a housewife buying groceries for a growing family. It was in the hands of a child buying a comic book for 10 cents. It has traveled through time to reach you. And it carries with it the energy of an America that was building, growing, and dreaming. When you hold a 1954 D penny, you are touching a piece of that dream. And if that piece happens to have a double die, or a floating roof, or a repunched mint mark, or a wrong planchet, then you're not just touching a dream. You're cashing it in. I want you to do something for me. In the comments section below, tell me your best 1954 D find. Even if you haven't found an error, tell me about the best condition one you own. Tell me about the one your grandfather gave you. Tell me about the one you carry in your pocket for good luck. The Hidden Coin Authority community thrives on these stories. We are a family of treasure hunters. And every story shared is a lesson learned for someone else. If you are new to this channel, welcome to the family. This is not a normal coin channel. We don't do boring, monotone breakdowns of mintage figures. We don't put you to sleep with technical jargon. We turn coin collecting into an adrenaline sport. We turn pocket change into paychecks. And we do it with love, with passion, and with an absolute refusal to let the big auction houses keep all the secrets to themselves. Hit that subscribe button. Right now. Smash it. I want to see that number go up because every new subscriber is another hunter in the field, another set of eyes scanning bankrolls, another person who might just find the coin that changes their life. Hit the bell icon. When I drop a new video, you need to be the first to know. Because the information I share is time sensitive. The market moves. The discoveries happen. And you don't want to be the person who missed out because the algorithm didn't show you the video until a week later. Share this video. Send it to your father. Send it to your uncle. Send it to that friend from work who always thought coin collecting was boring. Show them what they've been missing. Show them that a 1954 D penny is not just old pocket change. It's a lottery ticket that has already been scratched. You just need to know what the winning symbols look like. Let's review the targets one more time. I want these burned into your memory. 1954 D wheat penny. Denver Mint. Over 251 million minted. Look for the floating roof error on the reverse. Look for the double die obverse, the ghostly shadow on the date and liberty. Look for repunched mint marks, the D punched over another D. Look for the BIE error, the phantom letter I between B and E in liberty. Look for improperly annealed planchets, the weird, woody, off-color copper. Look for wrong planchet errors, silver-colored dime planchets or other foreign blanks. And look for condition, that blazing, flawless, MS67 red perfection that makes collectors weep. If you find any of these, do not spend the coin. Do not clean the coin. Do not rub the coin with a pencil eraser or a silver polishing cloth. You will destroy it. You will turn a $5,000 coin into a $5 conversation piece. The dirt, the grime, the funky green patina, that is the coin's soul. Leave it alone. Protect it. Get it graded. I believe in you. I genuinely do. Every single person watching this video has the potential to find something extraordinary. You don't need a metal detector. You don't need a time machine. You just need patience, knowledge, and the willingness to look a little closer at the things everyone else ignores. The 1954 D wheat penny is waiting for you. It's sitting in a jar. It's hiding in an old Whitman folder. It's circulating in a bankroll right now, this very minute, in a bank branch somewhere in America. It's calling out to you. Answer the call. This is Hidden Coin Authority. I'm your name. I make these videos because I believe that knowledge should be free, that treasure should belong to the people who find it, and that the greatest coin collection in the world is the one that hasn't been sorted yet. If you appreciated this video, let me know by hitting that like button. It helps more than you know. It tells the platform that we are a serious community of serious treasure hunters. It pushes this information to people who desperately need it. People who might be sitting on a fortune right now and have no idea. I want to leave you with this final thought. In a world that is increasingly digital, increasingly artificial, increasingly disconnected, coin collecting is real. It's tactile. It's historical. It connects you to your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather. That 1954 D penny in your hand was there. It witnessed the past. And now, it's ready to fund your future. Go hunt. Go find. Go change your life with a single cent peace and prosperity, Hidden Coin Authority family. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, the D stands for Denver. But it also stands for destiny. Now go claim yours.